the Hotel DuPont owes $110,000 in water bills.
Oh, you joking? You just be saying
No.
You start
You
trouble.
want to pick that water bill up?
It's
We can pick that
online.
water bill up.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Coby Owens.
Shané Darby.
And welcome to The Source. I'm so glad to have my cohorts back with me today, and it's just a joy. Those of you who said to me that I looked lonely last week, I apologize, but they are back in full swing. Today, I want to turn your attention, before we even talk about anything else, I'm a little concerned, I'm a little hurt, I'm a little shocked, and on the edge of emotional, because after watching months and months of this war in Gaza, I've worked hard to honor what we believe as Christians, that we are to support Israel. And I'm never going to be against the person who like to say, kill all the Jews and things of that nature. We're never going to go there. But where I'm at right now is, after seeing months and months of this war going on and the innocent bodies and babies being killed, and I guess his name is Netanyahu, how he just really have this zone where I can do what I want to do and America is going to continue to support me. I am now adding to the list. It's time for us to call for a ceasefire. It is time for America, Joe Biden, who we all support, most of us on this stage. We got to say at this point, enough is enough. Now, what I want to do before we get started with our discussion, I want you to see this report from CNN. This just happened this week. There was a drone strike. All of their activity have been illegal, but we've overlooked it because they are partners of ours. It's time now to put an end to it. Let's take a look at this. And please, if you have any children in the room or any person who's very sensitive to dead bodies and things of that nature, I don't want you to see this. I want you to be able to just turn your TV off while we go through this segment of the show. But I want you to see CNN's reporting on this. And this is not their view or their slant. It's the actual happening. Take a look.
A moment frozen in time. The bodies of at least 4 children splayed around a foosball table. Laughter and shrieks of joy silenced in an instant. Blood now marking where they stood only minutes earlier. Shahed, no way, Shahed, my beloved, her cousin screams from behind the camera. 10-year-old Shahed is one of those children. Her bright pink pants unmistakable in the arms of the man carrying her away. With her family's consent, CNN has decided to show Shahed in life and death in order to give a face to this war's deadly impact on children. At Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, those who can still be saved arrive alongside those who cannot. Amid the chaos, Shahed's pink pants dangling as a doctor confirms what is tragically obvious. But Shahed is not alone. She is one of 8 children who died on that crowded street in Al-Maghazi. The hospital says they were killed in an Israeli airstrike. By publication time, the Israeli military said only that the incident is under review. One after another, their small bodies arrive at the hospital's morgue and into the arms of grieving parents. His eyes swollen and red, the father of 9-year-old Lujane recounts his daughter's last moments, playing foosball with her friends. This is my eldest daughter, he says. A drone strike hit them while they were playing. They're all children. Hours earlier, Yusuf was one of those children, playing alongside Shahed and Lujane when he was suddenly killed in a war he did not choose. His mother still clinging to her son. Neither does this boy, who cannot believe his brother is dead. He is still alive, he cries. Don't leave him here. Amid the outpourings of grief, there is Shahed, her blood-stained pink pants, once again impossible to miss. Dear God, what did they all do? One man cries. What did they all do? Jerry Diamond, CNN, Tel Aviv.
And we're back. Let me just say to you, those of you who watch this, enough is enough. We who are a part of the group of the baptized believers who believe in following the heart of God, not just the hand of God, we have to start speaking up, and we cannot allow this to continue. I've listened to Shané, I've listened to Coby when they shared, we need to cease this war. This needs to stop. And I just said, you know what? Evil needs to be destroyed. I felt that, what's you call those people over in Gaza?
Palestine.
The leadership, Hamas, they needed to be stopped. They needed to be dealt with. But for this many children to be killed and innocent people, they use them as a shield. There has to be another strategic way of getting to these people. But just this fast rush to judgment and to be God and to be killing all these people and still have not gotten what they're trying to get, it's outright wrong. And it has to stop. Now, for those of you who are at the table today, I'm sorry we're starting off this way. Y'all welcome back to the coffee to the source. But what are your feelings on this? And I'm really open to hear you today.
Well, I don't know if you want to go. Since day one, since the war started for me, it has always been ceasefire, right? And who we think is the enemy or who is evil or not evil, I think it's subjective, right? And to each side. So I just think we need a ceasefire. I don't have to watch the video. I don't have to see it. I already seen enough. I actually stopped watching them for my mental health because it would drive you there to a point of I was crying, watching people cry for their children, right? Or holding their loved one. A lot of the things that they're doing are illegal. They're violating international war laws. Right? In America, we're funding it with our tax dollars. I don't want my tax dollars to be funded to go kill people.
That's right.
It's a genocide to me. So I'm standing on business. I've been saying this since day one. It needs to end. I don't think we should have to resort to this, but this is what's happening. And as Americans, we're supporting it. And you made one comment about, I don't think the majority of people support Joe Biden like the way you think people do. That's why he's not winning now in most places.
Well, okay? I hear you.
Most people don't. Most people want something different.
When it comes down to a good president, we just different. They may not want him, but he has been one of the better presidents that we've had, in my opinion. The
lesser of two evils.
I don't know if it's the lesser of two evils because I think that he has done a whole lot. But we're going to get into that. That's a good debate for us because we're scholars and we can debate that. But I want to go back to something you said a few seconds ago, and I agree with you 100%. Once I saw, now I've been seeing the bombs and things of that nature, but I'm a father, okay, who have a real serious love for his daughter. And to see that man screaming to the level he was screaming right on the video you just saw or on the coverage you just saw, it bothered me in my home yesterday because I've never in my life imagined that my child is playing there. 2 minutes later, my child is dead to no fault of anybody's who are surrounding her. That hurts. And they're living in that zone where it can happen again, again, and again. So when you said that, that's what really got me to where I am right now. I don't believe God is sanctioning what is going on right now. Yeah, I don't believe it, and I don't care what theologians that are out there saying, hey, God is on the side of Israel. Remember, God was on the side of Israel as long as Israel was doing the will of God. When Israel is not doing the will of God, God removes himself. I believe with all my heart, soul, and mind Israel's not doing what God is looking for.
So I just want to add, I want to correct one point that both of y'all said, that this is a war, right? And a war means that there's two conflicting armies going at one another, whether it's countries or rebel groups. This is not a war.
I agree.
This is not a war. What is happening in Gaza right now, listen, yes, what happened on October the 7th was horrible.
Yes.
And I do not advocate for the loss of life of anyone. But the Israeli military is using tactics that has been ruled illegal by world courts, by the UN, called collective punishment. That's like saying here in America, if I live on the same block as a gang member, I should be put in jail too.
Absolutely.
I should be punished for that too. Regardless, they are targeting individuals for simply being in the same community that they have stolen land from and then pushed everyone in the same location.
Yeah, and then bombing it down.
And now bombing that, bombing hospitals, bombing schools. I don't even think they have any schools left.
Yeah.
This is probably the biggest global crisis of the 21st century. Over 25,000 Palestinians have been killed. And the crazy fact of it, not even the 25,000 point, over 80% are children. Because that's all that's left. Because this did not start in 2023 on October 7th on that Saturday morning. No. This has been going on for 75 years. People have been systematically eroded from their land. And now, what's happening in DC right now, they're debating, should we send another $26.5 billion to Israel?
And I'm saying no.
To Israel.
Yeah, and I think we need to say something to our senators, our two senators, as well as to our congresswoman. We need to be pushing that they vote no.
Every single morning for the last 2 months, there's people in this state who wake up and make calls to all three of them and tell them not to support this genocide that is going on in Gaza right now. And yet they still continue to vote for this legislation. They still continue to debate whether we should send aid over to Israel because of organizations like AIPAC who flood our elections with hundreds of millions of dollars, who target people who speak out against this, who target minority people who speak out against this. This is a time, we're at an inflection point. And as a Christian, where is your moral standing?
Amen.
Where is your moral standing?
I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm supporting you 100% in that.
In February, I spent my birthday marching from Philadelphia to DC with Faith for Black Lives, led by the Reverend Stephen Green. We need more Black faith leaders to speak out. That's where our home used to be. Back in the 60s, before the 501c3s, we need faith leaders to speak out. We need community leaders to speak out. Because what is going on, it's horrible to watch. And if you want to look at it from a different lens, you want to be a fiscally conservative Democrat, we're sending money to other people, but yet we have people who are sleeping on the streets here. We have people who can't afford safe housing, who can't have clean drinking water, who doesn't have clean air. Flint still doesn't have water. Evansdale, Delaware still doesn't have water. But yet we're sending billions of dollars across the water. My taxes went up, but billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Mark Cuban aren't paying any taxes.
And that's the sin of America. My question is, you made a comment I was not aware of. There are people who are calling every day asking our congressional team to stop. When do they realize they are now in jeopardy? Is it when enough of us say, we will never vote for you again if you start doing this? Because you know what? I watch and I'm looking and I'm paying attention. I've been quiet, but the lion inside of me have now waken up. Enough is enough. I mean, I understand you wanted to deal with the evil of that group, but enough is enough. And if our Congress people, there's only one person in Congress, our senators will not hear this, then we're gonna have to start saying, you know what, I can't be friends anymore. because most people gonna turn on you once you decide to go against them in anything. I've noticed that. So I'm hoping that all of you who are watching us today, and I hope this video that CNN did, that this report, it wasn't that they cut things out. They were really dead bodies. They were really dead. They were fathers and mothers. We know mothers are gonna cry for their babies, but to see a father to the level of anguish that he was in, to no fault of his own or his daughter's own, they did everything they were told to do, leave where they're originally from in that country and go to a place, and now even in that place they are unsafe. They tried to give them an environment that where, okay, y'all can go outside and play. The environment was horrible itself, but this is the best we can provide for you. And then it gets bombed by a drone. All of this stuff is illegal. It's wrong. It's immoral, unacceptable.
Again, I just want to break down the numbers because this isn't new, right? Since 1946, the U.S. has been giving money to Israel, right? And we give money to a lot of different countries, don't get me wrong. The next biggest, they've been our biggest recipient, and I'll say the number in a second. But our next biggest is Egypt, and we've given them $160 billion since 1946, right? We've given Israel almost $300 billion since 1946. Let's just, think on that for a second. That is a little over 40% or 30% of what it would cost to give every black person in this country right now reparations. But yet they don't got money for us. But they have money to fund what is happening over there. Funding systematic. If you want to put it into terms of what's going on here, is gentrification. They're stealing land. They're using eminent domain, but minus the paycheck. They just take the land. And for the last 75 years, 76 years, they have slowly but surely taken as much land as possible, and now they want the last remaining cities. And it's been funded by the U.S. government.
And while some people may think this is a conspiracy, because when you hear them talking, you're like, oh, they go with their conspiracy stuff. No, the numbers
facts.
is true. The numbers is true. $300 billion
of your taxpayer dollars
of what we set off, and we can't even get welfare right. We can't even get
schools.
We can't even get daycare right, child care right. And the Republicans are working very hard to support Israel in their quest, but not in the other wars. But you know what? It ain't even about all that. You know what it's about
Even
with
the
me?
Democrats.
Right. I don't want to seem. I don't want to seem like I'm being biased, because you're absolutely correct. But at some point, we're going to have a humanity part of us, and we're going to have to say, you know what? Enough is enough. And we're going to have to say to our Congress people as well as senators, enough is enough. And we don't want you voting. And when they do, then you cannot have my vote. That's your power. That's your power. You send people to represent you. You don't send people to represent their own interests or their party interests. If you're voting for someone, if you hear Shané quite often talk about, y'all Democrat, she's a Democrat too. But the reality of it is she vote her conscience and her beliefs. And I think that makes a good citizen. So at the end of the day, if the party is not agreeing with what you need to do, you got to vote according to who is going where you're going. That was one of my points in the sermon on last Sunday. I'm sorry for interrupting your Sunday afternoon, but enough is enough. We got to take a stand. I'm calling on, and Joe Biden he knows of me because before he became important, I knew him. But let's just say this, it's time for a ceasefire. Chris Coons, it's time for a ceasefire. John Carper. It's time for a ceasefire. And Sister Lisa Blunt Rochester, it's time for a ceasefire. We are all friends, but enough is enough, and we cannot allow this massacre to continue. We'll be right back.
Greetings, I'm Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker of the 3rd District, and I am running for Lieutenant Governor for the state of Delaware. I have previously served on the Wilmington City Council. I served on the Board of Parole, and I am in my 6th year, my 3rd term as a state representative, and I am seeking your vote on September 10th, 2024, to be your next Lieutenant Governor. I believe I am uniquely qualified for this position. Please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024. You can also become involved with the campaign by going to my website, www.sherry, spelled SHERRY, Dorsey, DORSEY, Walker, WALKER, that's SherryDorseyWalker.com, and you're welcome to make a contribution. Sign up to volunteer, host a party, join us for parades. But please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024, to be your next Lieutenant Governor. May God bless you and continue to be a shining light in your life.
Hello, my name is Eugene Young. I'm incredibly thankful to be here. I am a candidate for U.S. Congress, and I believe when it comes to Congress, it comes to service. One of my favorite lines about service is you can't lead without loving, you can't save without service. So what's the depth of your love, and what's the quality of your service? So this aspect of love and service is what brings me here before you today, and wanting to take that and extend that into Congress as we move forward. I look at my last 20 years of serving the community, and I look forward to having another 20 and being able to find more ways to even better serve the community, which has given me so much. So please feel free to join us at eugeneyoung.com. That's EUGENEYOUNG.com. That's eugeneyoung.com. If you're interested in volunteering or donating, it could be $5 a month, it could be $100 a month, it could just be a standard donation of $10. We appreciate it all. Thank you so very much, and wishing you a wonderful, beautiful day.
And we're back. Well, it's time for Shané Scoop. You've been gone so long. Do you still remember what you were supposed to do in your scoop?
Yes, I do. So I know I was away from military training, but I was able to tap into a lot of the budget hearings virtually to hear and listen and ask questions about our budget. But one important thing about our budget, of course, again, is water. So by the time this airs, a vote would have happened already around 3 specific water bills that would impact our budget and how we move about water bill rates, how we move about affordability for people who live in our city. So there's 3 pieces of legislation. The first one is about water shutoffs, right? So this legislation is about protecting vulnerable communities from inhumane collection practices, right? Mm-hmm. So it is inhumane to cut off someone's water, especially with this legislation, which protects seniors who are on set income, disabled people who are on set income, and people who have children under the age of 5, right? And we know the impact of a water shutoff. It actually costs more for us as a society to provide services for someone to be unhoused than to keep them housed, right? Okay. Right. So when we talk about the impact of just a water bill shutoff on our community, we see that the cost benefits, the negative cost effects of making someone go unhoused over water, right? Mm-hmm. So this collection practice is harmful, brutal, and inhumane. I'm not saying, because they would argue that I'm saying people don't have to pay their bill. Yeah. I am not saying finance department, the city can't go and collect, but we have to be innovative in how we do that. There are different collection practices that we can use. With the commercial accounts, they don't get as many shutoffs as residential, right? So a lot of times they say they use collections. They send the bill to collections for commercial, right, to get money back. That's a collection process, right? That has negative impacts, but it's not as inhumane to kick someone out their home, right? Because once you cut off water, your house is uninhabitable. Uninhabitable, and you cannot live there, right? So if something goes on someone's bill or on their credit report, it's not as harmful, right, as that, like immediate impact, right? So, because people still have to pay their bill, but we also understand that there are circumstances out of people's control in this cycle of poverty that keeps people in that where they can't afford it. We know 1/3 of our customers cannot because they're delinquent. Another thing that's really concerning is that the city does a poor job at marketing the services we do offer to help people, right? So we have a water assistance program, we have a payment plan program, and a lot of people just don't know. So until the city, I think, gets better at advertising even what we have, then we're going to use inhumane collection practices to then make someone pay their water bill. I think it's just wrong. And like, for me, I really want to see them, instead of giving big breaks to like Hotel DuPont and Weston, who has a large water debt, right? And
it's over $10,000, right?
Over $10,000.
It's over $20,000, right?
Yes.
So, again, mind you, they could take me to foreclosure for $2,000. They could take my house.
Yep.
Wait a minute, so you saying that the Western?
The Westin on the riverfront and the Hotel DuPont owned by Bacini Pollen, one of the worst developers in the city, owe tons of thousands of dollars, and they keep getting tax rebates, keep getting all this other stuff, right? So they're not paying taxes, they're not paying their water bills.
They told me that if Isaiah Fair's bill is not paid,
they
even
cutting
if there
you
was
off.
a
Black.
even if there was a grant,
You're black.
I can't get the grant.
You're black, and the mayor doesn't like you, and you're a part of the mob because you're black.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, they're going to cut you off.
Oh no, we don't owe any money. But I was told we were a
bet
couple
you were
of days
told.
late on something, and they said until that's cleared up.
Did you
cannot get
donate
anything.
to Mayor Pazicki's campaign these
No,
last
he
two times?
He didn't let me.
He didn't let you. Well, if you donated, then you get special favor in this city.
Right.
And individuals like John Rago will help you get those special favors.
Yep.
But again, listen to that point.
Yeah, they get
Tens
breaks.
of thousands of dollars are owed to the city
Yes.
of Wilmington. But yet we have these city council members like Maria Cabrera and all these other ones who sit up there and want to say, oh, people need to pay their bill.
How about these commercial
my
properties?
Then
Lord.
they do fundraisers with them and brag about them. Birthday fundraiser for Maria Cabrera, hosted by Rob Bacini.
All right.
So yeah, she gets money in her campaign fund to leave them alone and to only go after the citizens of the city of Wilmington. There's people like that who are on council, and each and every one of them is a sellout.
Now, there was supposed to be a vote of yes, and there were 4 people as of a certain day. But then like you had on there, Shané Darby, also Bracey, Congo, and Johnson. They are saying yes.
They're saying yes.
But
We
you don't
need
know
3
about
more
all these others, and we need 3 more, huh?
Yes, correct.
All right. So I'm going to ask. Well, the vote would have taken place by the time we aired this.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
So
we're
we'll
going to
know.
come back and see who did vote, since they won't know whether we even talked about this.
Right. So they have an emergency meeting earlier this week.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I'm like, okay, let me jump on. I don't know what they're about to talk about. I had to cancel one of my meetings. I'm like, let me see what they're talking about. It's about the water bills.
Okay.
They told the city council, don't vote for any of the water bills on Thursday because it's going to make a big imbalance. It's this gloom and doom scenario for supporting this. And then they say, you know what, for shutoffs, we're going to, instead of doing 30-day shutoff notices, we're going to do 6-month shutoff notices. So they think they're solving the problem by now extending when they send the shutoff notice to a family that they're balanced. That doesn't solve the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Water shutoffs are harmful and inhumane at 30 days
Right.
or at 6 months.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Right.
You shouldn't do it. So they're just extending it. They're trying to find a way to make an excuse so that city council finds a way not to vote for it. So they made it a policy, so we don't have to do a legislation on it. So they made it a policy. But one thing about policies, administration by administration can change
that's right.
it. That's why it's important to codify things.
Yeah.
That this is an inhumane practice and no administration should use water shutoffs for this specific group of people.
Yeah.
Right? There are some cities who don't do shutoffs at all.
I understand.
Right? They do other collection practices to make sure that people at least can stay in their home.
And
right?
because Trevi don't have a control over the agenda, you think this is going to be taken off the table?
Oh, no, it's not going to be taken off.
Oh.
It's happening tonight. It's happening. So by the time this airs, a vote should have happened. And then my other legislation is really quick. It's about foreclosure. So foreclosures, we're asking that homeowners' homes aren't foreclosed on for water bill debt, if it's solely or even partial. So there are some people who hit a threshold, let's say, of $7,000. The city says, you have $7,000 back in water bill. We're going to take your whole house that's worth $120,000. Does that even make sense?
Listen. You hear that number? You listen that? So again, I may sound like a broken record here because I really don't like when corporations get unfair treatment. But the Hotel DuPont owes $110,000 in water bills.
Oh, you joking? You just be saying.
No.
You start
You
trouble.
want to pick their water bill up?
It's
We can pick their
online.
water bill up.
Oh,
The
my.
Westin, the nice hotel,
Yes,
River Rock
downtown.
Cafe on the riverfront and everything, owes $84,000.
Who's supposed to collect that money?
They're not collecting it.
$84,000.
They're not shutting them off. They're not foreclosing on them. They're not doing, but they'll do it to me.
I'm going
are
to call for
operating.
an impeachment of the secretary. Oh, they don't have secretaries in y'all area. Of the director of finances then, because that's what. If you telling me they're not collecting, they're not doing anything. Who's responsible for that?
It's this administration. This is how they operate. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm going to read some numbers of individuals who are about to get their water shut off for $1,583 pending shut off, for $9,297.19 pending shut off, for $7,916.54 pending shut off, and I could keep going for $3,002.05 pending shut off. I could keep going, but yet they don't hold these businesses accountable. These same businesses, again, and this is what really gets to me, they have given them a 15-year tax abatement. They are not paying into the city. So when this council sits down and talk about, we have no funds, we have no money, and we have to raise water and sewer, we have to raise all these other taxes, right? What is it, 16% this year or something like that?
Lord.
They are doing it off of your backs. They're holding you accountable for these businesses that keep building here but can't fill up their properties. If you look at Bacini's 3 downtown properties, the 3 biggest, the people who are in it aren't from the city of Wilmington. They aren't here for business other than to work for the Biden campaign, which means come November,
They'll be gone.
where they going? Back to their home states.
Wow.
So why are we giving tax abatements to these places that are 40, 30, 50% at capacity, not even bringing in any wage tax here, and then raising the fees, Maria Cabrera, raising the fees of local businesses, lawyers and everything, to the point where they're like, I don't got to deal with Wilmington no more. I'm out of here. I'm going up 202. It's nicer buildings, better built buildings, Capano, and you're Deladon, and they don't have to deal with the additional fees for licensing. But everyone got a fee increase except for the developers who can build over 100.
Wow. Let me ask you this question. I think we need, because I don't want to take all our time. Sorry, you hit one more thing.
You hitting on all the points.
No, because you really are. I want to get the facts of that, and I know you usually don't, just because they come after you if you were just talking.
Oh, they come at me all the time.
I want to know if this stuff is true about the Western. I want to know if this stuff is true about the hotel.
We'll get all the information
we
for
will
you.
put the water bill up on the screen for everyone to say, don't believe me, believe the city.
Without all the holler, without all the scream, without all the emotion, right is right and wrong is wrong. And people will label people as liberals and as you just want to give the city away for free. But if you're giving somebody $100,000 who owe us $100,000 and you're giving them tax abatements, why shouldn't that sounds like a Republican policy?
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong.
He's a Republican. He's
That's
a Democrat
wrong.
switch Republican. Republican switch Democrat for him to win.
Well,
so with the foreclosures,
I just got, and this is going to be up on your screen. I just got a text message with the bill. Wow, Dad, Coby, you're not lying. Yeah, hotel.
No,
I got
it is
Hotel
true.
DuPont, and this grade come up on your screen because our people are really good at this stuff. And then I got the Western. Oh my Lord, y'all got to be joking. All right, let me just stop. Go ahead and say what y'all want to say. I'm going to go to a commercial break because y'all are killing me. What else you got on your agenda?
yeah. So no, there's a foreclosure. So this emergency meeting.
Yeah.
I know I got them scared for them to have an emergency meeting 2 days prior to try to convince them not to vote for my legislation, right? So they then proposed, you know what? The legislation about foreclosures, we're going to adopt that as a policy. We're not going to foreclose on homeowners for water debt, which is great, right? Or even for partial. They won't allow it to go to sheriff's sale to be monument. What is it? It's not foreclosures. It's the M word they use. I'm like, it's basically foreclosures.
Okay.
But they use that word, but they're not going to do it, which is great, right? But in that, it's only going to be a policy.
Right.
Policies
Come
can
and go.
change. They come and go with administration.
Right, absolutely.
It needs to be codified.
Yes.
So they're trying to take away from my legislation for city council not to say yes by saying, oh, we're going to make it a policy. It doesn't need to be codified. Yeah. No, it needs to be codified. Homeowners should not have to get their home taken away because they're behind on their water bill. For me, $7,000 of water debt does not compare to my $120,000 worth home, whatever it is, right? It does not compare. So for me, I am asking for it to still be codified, even though the administration now is adopting this as a policy.
And if the person bring it up, that, it's going to be adopted as a policy, make sure you speak out. So
yeah,
that
that's exactly what I'm going to say tonight.
Yes.
And then what also makes this funny, I'm going to hit on this with the foreclosures. When I first presented the bill, they sent out a memo. I'm the only city council, every single time I put up a legislation, the administration sends out a memo about why not to support it. So in that, for foreclosures, they said it's illegal. They said what I am doing is illegal. But then they turn around and put it into a policy. Like, they just be lying and saying anything. Like, anything at this point.
You mean
like,
this administration that's willing to break the law when it comes to residency?
Yes. Yes, that very one. And my last legislation is about just water affordability, right? So we're just asking for an outside agency to come in, look at our system, and say, what is a water affordability program? So a lot of times you'll hear city council compare and say, Wilmington has one of the lowest rates in the region, but they don't compare the programs that those other cities have. You can't compare us to Philadelphia when Philadelphia has a water affordability program. They have discounts for like different things going on with their water program. We have nothing but a water assistance program where we wait for you to get behind of 3 months. And a lot of people don't qualify to do it because most of the time you have to be a homeowner to get the funding. And you can get up to $1,500 and then they put you on a payment plan knowing you can't afford it, right? So then a lot of people default on their payment plan. So that's another issue. So, yeah.
And the issue is, right, yeah, we may have one of the better rates, but again, they're misusing the money. They're sending the money from the water and sewer and using it in the general fund, using it to pay other salaries that have nothing to do with water, right? Up in Philly and up in other places, right? They have better quality water treatment centers, right? We're about to have to shut down one of our treatment centers. We have federal dollars come in. Now, I will say the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act will help with that, but they use some of that money for other outside of what they were, the scope of what they were supposed to do was fix our water infrastructure. They're using it for development in other places, right? So again, yes, there is help out there to keep our water rates low. And this city, this administration is choosing to reallocate money to other places so that he can help his developer friends and not help the citizens who actually live here.
Wow. I don't know what to say to you all who are watching today's show. It's too much politics because at the end of the day, the poor is getting poorer because the rich continues to step on them. No way in the world. For me to see this water bill, and this is official water bill, for me to see this water bill and knowing that we get our water bills and we better pay it by the end of the month or we're gonna get increases, not only increases, what do you call it, interest on them and things of that nature. And for them to, and when Coby started connecting stuff, people say, oh, there you go, starting trouble. You know what we really need? We really need a city council who is independent. That's what we really need. And I'm calling on all of you who watch us to call your grandchildren, call your cousins, your auntie, and all of them, and say, listen, are you willing to serve the people? Because you need to now run for city council. We really need a makeover because nowhere in the world can we have this type of stuff going on and we just let it go on and we don't care because we get a chicken sandwich every now and then. Right is right and wrong is wrong. We'll be right back.
Join us for an evening of unity and support. Come out to the Congo Legacy Center on Thursday, May 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. and rally behind Shané Darby Walker, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. This fundraiser, hosted by family and friends of Shané Darby Walker, promises an inspiring evening as we rise to unify. Tickets are $100. Please don't miss this opportunity to show your support and be a part of the movement. See you there.
Hello, I'm Marcus Henry, and I'm running for Newcastle County Executive. I spent over 20 years working in state and local government trying to bring the good programs and services you deserve here in Newcastle County. Please support my campaign. Please look us up at marcushenryde.com for further information. I look forward to meeting you all over the next year, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Tune in at 8 a.m. every Sunday for our worship services. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church. We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
And we're back. Our anchor person is now had to run off on us, and she'll be back next week. But I wanted to continue on with Coby's Corner. What's going on this week, Coby?
So unfortunately, I've talked about the Homeless Bill of Rights on this show multiple times due to two Democrats who did not take the time to actually hear the bill out, but again, listen to Bacini Pollen, and listen to small businesses who do not understand the bill. They have decided to hold the bill. It was supposed to be heard in committee to give everyone who was there the first time who didn't get to speak and got skipped over so that Bacini could speak, who was the very last person in the room. Give them an opportunity to come out and speak on this bill. That has been stopped. The chair of the committee, I believe, 100% mishandled this situation. It is no way and good ethics that a donor of yours gets to skip the line to give their opinion, and now the bill gets killed.
Oh, wow.
It's sad because this is an anti-discrimination bill, and it's very interesting that these developers are saying, oh, well, this bill should have housing in there for people. But then when we want to do something like that, you complain it costs too much. So make up your mind. You have businesses like Stitch House Brewery who comes out and lie about what's going on. It wasn't a homeless person who was fighting, because we were out there the night that he was referencing. It was two drunk white college kids fighting who went back to their little apartments and everything. And he described them as homeless people because it pushed his narrative, right? So again, this is what we're dealing with when we have racist business owners wanting to stop the discrimination against people who are experiencing homelessness, people who are trying to get their lives back on track. But in this state, if you don't have a previous residency that you can reference when you're going for some of these applications to get a new apartment, then you get automatically denied. This is the stuff that we're trying to fix. But no, we have people who don't even live in the city, people who like to profit off of what's going on here in the city, reaching out to these legislators who are not engaged with the Wilmington community, who's not engaged with the community that's being impacted, and run to their little ivory houses and ignoring the people of Delaware who truly need a piece of legislation like this to move forward. So again, we're still going to be advocating for this. Of any piece of legislation that I've ever worked on, I think this bill has been the longest I've ever worked on a piece of legislation. I was in high school. I was about 100 pounds lighter. I didn't even have a beard back then.
Oh, wow.
I've been working.
I'd like to see a picture of that.
I've been working with organizers on this bill since I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, wow.
And the fight isn't going to stop here. We're still going to keep fighting, and one day we will get this through. And it's sad that it's this much opposition in 2020, in 2024, that is this much opposition to a bill that's so critical after what we learned during the pandemic, put an even bigger spotlight on why being housed properly is such a critical piece to one's well-being. We had mayors come out, Mayor of Georgetown, Bill West, come out to talk about how the Pallet Village has taken their homeless population, helped cut it in half, and also helped those people find housing and stable jobs as well too. They just needed the opportunity to have somewhere safe and sound. Not everyone is going to go into this program. I'm not saying everyone will, but for those who are trying to do the right thing, they just need a little help. And I believe that's where we come in to play. But again, unfortunately, others had a different view of things. Next, I want to talk about student loan Plan B. So about a year ago today, the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's original plan. So now they have a new plan that will provide significant relief to Black and Latino borrowers. We know that Black and brown households are more likely to have to borrow money for college, right? And borrow at a higher amount and a higher interest rate as well too, in order to just go get a degree to further their education, something that is so critical. But once you have that degree, they cannot take that away from you. They cannot take your education away from you. So that's why it's so critical. And we face barriers over the years in getting access to colleges, right? And I know there is a movement here, and it was led by Stephanie T. Bolden, Representative Stephanie T. Bolden, to grow our seed program. There's a bill going on currently here in Delaware that would allow access for individuals who have felonies to also get funding to our seed program to go and further their education and become an active member of society. But it includes 5 methods to fix the federal student loan program, including providing debt cancellation for borrowers who owe more today than they did that when they entered the repayment, right? So once you hit that window, sometimes you're owing 4 and 5 times of what you actually borrowed, right? This will also help individuals who owe for 20 years or more, or experiencing financial hardship, right? There, you got a degree, but you're not in a high paying job, because even though you may have that degree, you're still looked at as less, right? You have to go get a master's and doctorate to be on the same level sometimes as someone with just a associate or BA. So again, that's what we deal with, right? As Black people, as brown people, again, the current program is very broken. But the big part of this is he has canceled $140 billion of student loans already. And the reason why people in my generation aren't seeing it, it's for individuals who've owed for over 20 years so far. That's what the Supreme Court allowed to go through. But for new borrowers, they did not. They overturned that. So that's, again, I just want to break that point down of why some people may say, well, my loans ain't get relieved yet. Some have, but again, most of the people impacted are like in their late 30s, early 40s and up.
Mine didn't get done yet, but I guess I don't know what's going on, but all right.
And then I want to skip to my last point, which is there is an issue going on with race in high schools across Delaware. In Concord High School, there was a teacher who was saying the N-word multiple times, yelling it in the hallway. Why? Because he says, oh, the Black kids say the N-word, so I should be able to say it too. This is the same school that had the principal a few years ago that Representative Namdi Chokocha helped him keep his job, who said the N-word to the BSU, who said it to the BSU advisor, and then came to the meeting with the NAACP and said, oh, well, I didn't think it was wrong because the students say, and I was just saying what they said. So this mindset started with the principal that Namdi Chokocha, who wants to be in tune with his African side, allowed to keep his job, came in when his job was on the line because he was suspended, and made sure this man got rehired and brought back into the building. Now teachers are using the same talking point and saying the N-word in the classroom. This is just in Concord. And again, I want to talk about St. George's. In St. George's, there was a young wrestler who's a sophomore who wore blackface to a Halloween party and got nothing done. Why? Because the disciplinarian was his head coach for the school, right? And the head coach knew that the season was about to start and didn't want to do anything. So now fast forward 5 months, 6 months almost. Now they finally do something. They only give him a 2-day suspension. But if you're a Black kid in the school and say the N-word to another Black kid, you get an automatic 5-day suspension for racism. So again, there's still disparities happening there. And if something happens off campus, and let's say you're not the one directly involved, but you were there with the situation, you also get a 5-day suspension. But yet this young white kid's girlfriend who's in the picture with him, who's sharing the picture, she got nothing. Why? Because she's the niece of the teacher of the year at St. George's. So it stinks. It reeks of nepotism.
Yeah.
And again, it shows that these schools are failing when it comes to interacting with our Black kids.
Wow. That's a shame.
And then my last point
before you go there,
yeah.
I've been quiet because I just every so often I tend to allow you to share what your research is showing you. But I think people don't understand, Coby, that there are people out there fighting like yourself and others to try to keep the dignity of African Americans strong. It's constantly being tore down. I don't think the people who are watching us today heard you. You have a person who was the principal using the N-word. You all know what the N-word is. And this person got suspended, supported, and he came back. Now we got teachers using it.
In the same school under his administration.
And what has happened to that teacher?
Nothing.
They
said they're going to do an investigation, but as of right now, the teacher was still in the school.
And then what was this the same teacher who came before the NAACP and say, I didn't see anything wrong with it?
No, that was the principal.
Oh, that was oh my gracious. I just don't understand why we sit in our seats of nothing and in complacency and allow this to occur. At some point, we're going to have to wake up. We're going to have to wake up because, as I say to Ezion Fair quite often, it may not be you today, but it can be you tomorrow. We have to start attacking some of these issues, and we have to stop giving our votes away to people who just play games. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm sorry, I don't want people to think I'm sitting here and just letting them run off and run. No, it hurts me. I have been a part of the struggle of making sure that the voiceless is heard. And I know the attacks I'm constantly under. From me building the church we're in, the building that's next to us, and the building we're building now, I understand what kind of attack, and I don't mind people attacking me. But it bothers me when sometimes you all just sit and let people destroy people who trying to help you.
And I just want to say, I don't care if they attack me. I really don't. And both members of school boards and members of both school administrations have tried to attack my character in the past and everything. The reason why I get so passionate and speak out about this is because it's the students who are reaching out to me. Yeah. Students who know that they will deal with repercussions if they say something. These kids are scared to say something in their school or scared to say it out publicly because then they will get in trouble. Not the person who actually committed the wrongdoing, but they will get in trouble. These kids, and there was actually a walkout at St. George's. And mind you, they suspended this young man for wearing blackface. They suspended him for 2 days. They were threatening to suspend these kids for 5 days for simply walking out and going to sit on the bleachers of their football. They didn't leave school. They came in and checked into school. They were going to be held more accountable for that action, right, than the kid who actually did a racist thing.
Yeah, and it shows how twisted and mixed up our system is. And when people keep saying, well, this is just a conspiracy, this is just a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. It's a reality. It's a reality. And we need to accept the reality that equality is only for certain people. And I often say sometimes it's really for those who have. The have-nots always have to take the second seat. And that's just that's unfortunate and it's wrong. I'm sorry, Coby.
No, and the last thing I wanted to do is update us on 2024. Okay. There is a lot of things going on, both on a national level, state level, county level, city level. One of the things that I really want to talk about is school board. May 14th is the school board elections, and we have races in most of these districts that are in our area, including Red Clay. Please, please, please go online, look up who's running for your area if you live in Red Clay, and vote for the best candidate. Right now, Red Clay is our largest school district, right?
I thought Christina was.
They go back and forth. Okay. I'm pretty sure Red Clay is right now.
Okay.
But if not, they're one of our two largest school districts, right? They have a huge portion of city kids in there, but yet it's the entire school district voting. So I need each and every one of you to even if you don't have any kids in the school district, had no grandkids or anything, this is about the city. Now, did I agree when they broke the city up into 5 different school districts? Absolutely not, but I was even alive back then. But I could do something now by trying to send the best representation for the city to that school board, even though it's not a district, right? The seat is not representing a city district, but we still have influence if we come out and we vote. And I need each and every one of y'all to do that. Again, the incumbent who is running right now is the same incumbent who a few years ago posted a bunch of stuff about how Wilmington kids are hood, they're ghetto. He needs to get a gun if he's going to come visit one of the Wilmington to come to our schools because he's scared for his life here. This is the type of person who has represented the Red Clay School Board for the last few years. He refused to resign, and this is our opportunity to send him into an early retirement and tell him racism has no home in the Red Clay School District. That man's name is Jason Casper. He does not belong on the school district, and I encourage everyone to look up who's running in those seats against him, who's running against him in Red Clay, and vote for them.
And on your screen, you will see his picture and the people who are running. We are going to put that up there because I don't want us just to be a show discussing stuff. We got to be about action.
Right.
And I think, so on your screen, you will see now who this person is that Coby is referring to, and then the people who are running. Do you have any candidates that you feel that would certainly continue the cause?
Yes, one candidate, Susan Sander. Again, someone who's been involved with the school district, who's been active. I feel as though she would be a better representation for that area and for all of the school district than Casper has been.
All right, and I hope we have a picture of her as well.
Yes.
And we just wanted you to see that. I'm sorry, Coby. Anything else?
No, that's all I have for today.
Well, this has been a really interesting and fiery show today. Starting off with Gaza, then dealing with the water bills. I mean, you just blowing my mind, and you've been gone. I guess you must have been on vacation because you came back with all of this stuff, and y'all wore me out today because I'm hurting for what's going on in Gaza. I'm disappointed and hurting for what's happening in our local politics, how the water bills for these two hotels that you saw on the screen, how they owe hundreds of thousands. Well, one of them owes $100 and some thousand dollars, the other one owe close to $100,000. And they get away with this. The rich get away with this. Here you have a homeowner who may have mismanaged a couple dollars and they didn't get a chance to pay their water bill. Now they're $1,000 in and they're going to get a shut-off notice. And after the shut-off notice going to come, you got to get out of your house because we're going to take it or it's not inhabitable. So you got to move on. It's just unfair. It's unfair. We're talking about, how a person had the black face and they just got 2 days suspension, but the kids who walked out because nothing happened was facing a 5-day suspension. It's just unfair. Equality is just not what we're doing anymore. It's overt racism, and we're not paying any mind. We're sleeping on our couches, and we're saying it's not my issue. It is your issue. You want to know why our young kids are killing themselves and fighting and shooting? It's because they don't see hope. It takes us to bring hope to this community. Stop worrying about who's going to be our leader. You be the leader. You be the one to step up. Because at the end of the day, you matter. And for all of you who watch and you joke with me and you tell me you're watching, let's start making some phone calls. Call our congressional team. Call them. No, don't vote anything for Israel. And we will see publicly who votes for it. And then if they decide to do it, then we're going to have to take some action. I'm friends with all of them. Right is right and wrong is wrong. So we're going to have to start taking some action or we just waste each other's time. Coby, is there anything else on your corner for today?
That's all I have for today.
Well, if that's all you have today, please don't forget that Shané Darby Walker will be having her fundraiser just a few more days from now, and it may be a surprise. We don't know what's going on with that, but I hope that you would join her. I believe it's May the 4th at the Congo Legacy Center. I want to keep throwing my little pitch in there for her because she is a true warrior who's trying to continue to fight that we've been trying to fight. Until the next time we get together, I'll say see ya.
Take care, y'all.